Look in the mirror. You see that person? The one who chased the dreams, fought the battles, climbed the damn walls. You put in the work. You paid the price. You thought you were getting somewhere. And maybe you did, by the world's standards. But then something shifted. You saw the strings. You saw the hands pulling them. And suddenly, the whole damn play felt different, less real. The applause you used to crave, the victories you used to fight for, they lose their shine. That engine that powered your whole life, that need to prove yourself, to get ahead, to be somebody, it can just sputter out like a car running on empty in the middle of nowhere. You hit the gas, but nothing happens. Just a heavy silence. You wake up not into some fairy tale bliss, but into a stillness that can feel deafening, motionless, like the world hit pause and you're the only one who noticed. The hustle and bustle you used to be a part of, it just fades into the background. You see it happening, but you're not in the thick of it anymore. Not really. And that lack of the old drive. Don't mistake it for laziness. Don't let them tell you you're slipping. This ain't about falling behind. It's about maybe finally stopping to look around, to see where you really are. Think about it. All that energy you spent climbing that ladder, did you ever stop to ask yourself if that was the right damn ladder? Or were you just climbing because everyone else was? Because that's what you were told to do? Now that you've glimpsed something more, something deeper, that old climb can feel pointless. The rewards at the top, they might look like fool's gold now. It's not losing motivation, not in the way the world sees it. It's realizing that what used to drive you was often a shadow, a chasing after things that don't truly feed the soul. You saw the illusion, and the hunger for the illusion fades. It's a natural damn reaction. This ain't easy. The world doesn't understand this kind of stillness. They want you to keep moving, keep producing, keep wanting more. When you step off that treadmill, they look at you sideways. They might even try to pull you back on, but you feel it, don't you? That inner knowing that something has changed, that the old ways don't fit anymore. Trying to force that old drive back, it feels like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. It just ain't right. So you sit in this quiet. Maybe you feel lost. Maybe you feel confused. Maybe you even feel a little empty. That's all right. That's part of the damn process. You're shedding an old skin. And that shedding can leave you feeling vulnerable. But in that vulnerability, there's strength. The strength to not just blindly follow the crowd. The strength to question the old narratives. The strength to listen to a different kind of calling. That engine that stopped, it might be getting ready to start again. But this time, it'll run on a different fuel, a fuel that comes from a deeper place, a place of truth, a place that resonates with who you truly are, not who the world told you to be. Don't rush this. Don't try to force the issue. Feel the quiet. Let it speak. Because sometimes the loudest answers come in the damn silence. This ain't the end of your journey. It's a new damn beginning. A chance to build something real, something that lasts, not based on illusion, but on something solid, something within. So you might not have that old fire right now, but trust me, something else is stirring, something deeper, something that will move you in a way that the old motivations never could. You just got to be still enough to hear it. Look, you took a real journey, didn't you? You weren't just skimming the surface of life. You went down into the well trying to find that deep, clear water of truth. And when you finally saw it, things changed. The way you looked at the world, the way you looked at yourself, it all shifted. Illusions you once held, dear, crumbled. Patterns you never noticed before became crystal clear. And in that moment of seeing, there was often a profound stillness, a quiet that felt like the answer you'd been searching for. But then comes the part that catches so many off guard, that fire, that relentless drive that used to push you up the ladder, that hunger for achievement, for recognition. It can just fade, dim down to almost nothing. You wake up and the things that once felt so urgent, so vital, now just lie there, inert. You're left in a quiet that can feel less like peace and more like an echoing emptiness. Now listen to me, don't let that feeling fool you. This ain't about you backsliding. This ain't about some personal failing. Don't let the noise of the world make you believe that. What you're experiencing, this absence of that old push, it's not the same as being lost in the shadows of depression or just plain old laziness. This is a different kind of landscape altogether. It's not that you can't move. It's that there's no you left to push in the same damn way. Think about that. The you that was always striving, always comparing, always needing external approval to feel whole. That you is in the process of deep change, like a snake shedding an old, outgrown skin. So who exactly is supposed to be running that old, ego-driven race now? The old self is dissolving and the new, more authentic self is still finding its footing, its own rhythm. What you once called ambition now feels like noise. All that clamoring for a better title, a bigger paycheck, the fleeting validation of the crowd, it can start to sound like a chaotic marketplace. You step away from that din, and yeah, it's quiet. But in that quiet, if you listen closely, you start to hear a different kind of resonance, a whisper of something more aligned with your soul. What you're describing is a sacred void, like roots growing in the dark, unseen, but where everything begins again. This ain't just some barren emptiness. This is fertile ground. The old hardened soil needs to be broken up before new seeds can take hold. That old drive, it was often tangled up with fear, with a sense of never being enough. Now, as you begin to see the illusion of that lack, the old fuel simply doesn't ignite the same way. This ain't a setback. The strength here is facing the void and naming it as part of the journey, not a personal defeat. It takes a different kind of courage, a deeper kind of strength to stand in that apparent emptiness, to resist the urge to immediately fill it with the same old distractions, the same old pursuits that ultimately left you feeling unfulfilled. The world out there, it's still running on that old programming, still demanding constant output, relentless progress. But you might feel like you stepped off that conveyor belt, not because you're incapable of keeping up, but because you're starting to question the destination. That old engine stopped because it was time for a fundamental reevaluation. Maybe it was time to trade in that gas guzzler for something electric, something that runs on a different kind of energy. Don't be so quick to hotwire it back to its old, inefficient ways. Feel this stillness. It might feel unproductive by the world's standards. It might even feel a little scary, but there's a profound wisdom to be found in it, a chance to truly listen to the quiet whispers of your intuition instead of the booming demands of your ego. This ain't the end of your damn story. It's a powerful transition, a chance to walk a new path, one that's more in harmony with who you're truly becoming, with the deeper truth you've awakened to. So you might not have that old fire right now, but don't lose heart. Something else is gestating within you, a different kind of motivation. one that isn't about chasing external rewards, but about expressing your inner being. It will emerge when the time is right. You just got to give it the space, the quiet to ignite in its own way. This ain't about going backwards. It's about a fundamental shift in direction from seeking validation outside yourself to finding alignment within. From chasing fleeting highs to cultivating a deep and abiding peace. That lack of the old drive, it doesn't mean you're lost. It might just mean you're finally dropping the map that wasn't leading you to your true home. Be patient with yourself. Embrace the quiet and trust that a new sense of purpose, a more authentic and sustainable motivation will rise from this stillness. It won't be a frantic sprint. It will be a natural, soul-led unfolding. So the question ain't whether you've lost your drive. The real question is, are you finally free to discover a drive that truly serves you? A drive that comes from the heart, not just the head. You find yourself standing in this new, unfamiliar territory, right? Inside the old landmarks, the ones that used to guide your every step, they're fading like old photographs. The familiar motivations, the hunger for achievement, the need for external validation, they're losing their damn grip. It's like the map you've been using your whole life, the one everyone else seems to be following, is dissolving right there in your hands. But the world, it didn't get the memo. It keeps on spinning at the same old frantic pace, still measuring your worth, your very existence by how much you can produce, how much you can accumulate, how much you can do. And that, my friend, creates a hell of a cross current. You're in this deep, often silent process of inner reevaluation, a fundamental questioning of everything you once held to be true, while the bills keep stacking up, the deadlines keep hammering down, and the people around you, with all the best intentions, keep asking, so what's the plan? What are you working on? You're not producing in their language. You're not striving for the things they value. And so the world whispers, lazy. Sometimes it's a subtle nudge, a concerned look from a partner. Other times, it's a more direct, almost accusatory tone from a friend or colleague. You feel that weight, don't you? That unspoken judgment hanging in the air. It's so easy to let that old programming take over. That deeply ingrained belief hammered into us from day one, that your value as a human being is directly proportional to your output. Doubt worms its way in. You start to question the authenticity of your own experience. Maybe they're right, that little voice whispers. Maybe this awakening is just an excuse for inaction. Maybe I should just shake it off and get back to the damn grind. That primal fear of being irrelevant, of not contributing, of being left behind by the relentless march of progress. It can feel like a physical weight on your chest. But you got to dig deeper than that surface level judgment. You got to ask yourself, what is this real world they keep talking about? Is it a world built on a foundation of genuine fulfillment, or is it a relentless chase after fleeting shadows? But what if stillness isn't stagnation, but sacred? What if this period of apparent inactivity, this stepping back from the relentless outward push, is actually a vital, essential stage of deep integration? Think about the forest in winter. On the surface, everything looks dormant, even dead. But beneath the frozen ground, a whole damn ecosystem is quietly preparing for the explosion of life in the spring. This ain't about shirking your responsibilities. It's about fundamentally questioning the nature of those responsibilities and your relationship to them. Are you withdrawing from the world out of fear, out of a desire to escape its demands? Or are you learning a new, more authentic way to be present within the world without being constantly battered and bruised by its relentless pace and its often misguided values? That's the crucial, soul-searching question you need to confront. The old way of navigating the world was often purely reactive, driven by external pressures, by the endless demands of the ego, by the constant need to fill some perceived void. This new phase, this unexpected stillness, offers the radical possibility of a more responsive way of living, a way that flows not from a place of lack and striving, but from a deeper, more grounded sense of inner alignment. But finding that alignment, that true north within yourself, that takes time. It demands space. And from the outside looking in, it very often looks exactly like not doing anything. That tension, that constant push and pull between the inner transformation and the outer expectations, it can feel like a damn war raging inside you. The temptation to just cave, to retreat to the familiar, even if it left you feeling hollow, can be incredibly strong. It's the seductive allure of the known, the comfortable prison of the old self, versus the often terrifying uncertainty of the truly new. But there is a profound strength to be found in resisting that downward pull. There is a quiet courage in honoring this deeply personal inner process, even when it flies directly in the face of the world's relentless demands. You're learning a new rhythm, a cadence dictated not by the ticking clock or the relentless demands of others, but by the deeper, more subtle pulse of your own soul. So when the pressure builds, when that familiar anxiety starts to gnaw at you, don't reflexively rush to fix it, to jump back into the old patterns just to silence the noise. Instead, take a breath. Ask yourself, what am I really, truly learning in this unexpected stillness? What deeper wisdom, what more authentic understanding is trying to surface when the incessant clamor of the external world finally begins to fade away? Think about those conversations, the polite inquiries that carry an undercurrent of expectation. Still not working on anything? Everything all right? You seem different. These well-meaning probes can feel like a spotlight on your perceived inactivity, amplifying that nagging sense of guilt, making you question the validity of your inner journey. And internally, a fierce battle might be underway. One part of you, the old conditioned self, might be screaming to get back into the arena, to start swinging again. At least then, I felt like I was making progress. It might argue vehemently, this stillness is just a fancy word for being stuck. You might catch yourself mentally drafting elaborate plans, meticulously crafting to-do lists, all in a desperate attempt to appease that relentless inner critic and those persistent external expectations, even when there's no genuine spark, no real energy behind those actions. This is the delicate, often precarious tightrope walk of this transformative phase, honoring the profound need for inner stillness and deep integration while still navigating the very real, very pressing demands of everyday life. It demands a different kind of wisdom, a far deeper listening to the quiet whispers of your own inner knowing, as opposed to blindly following the deafening shouts of what you feel you should be doing. Now, after that stretch of quiet, after you've given yourself the space to just be, something subtle begins to shift, doesn't it? It's not a grand, dramatic comeback. It's more like the first breath after holding your breath for a long time. A gentle easing back into motion. But the engine, it's running on a different kind of fuel now. It ain't that same old frantic burn. It doesn't roar, it whispers. That's the damn truth. The old drive was often a shout, a demand fueled by ego and the need to prove. This new stirring, it's a quiet knowing, an inner resonance that guides you without the need for external validation. You might not even fully grasp it at first. It just feels right deep down in your bones. That old motivation, it was so often rooted in a sense of lack, a constant feeling that you needed to get somewhere, to acquire something, to become someone other than who you already were. But this new current, it flows from a different wellspring, a sense of inherent wholeness, a desire to express the unique essence that resides within you, not to fill some empty void. You no longer chase purpose. You become it. Think about that shift. The frantic search for your calling, that desperate need to find your one big thing, it starts to fade. Instead, you realize that purpose isn't some distant destination you finally arrive at. It's something that unfolds organically, moment by moment, as you align yourself with your truest nature, with what truly lights you up from the inside. This ain't some neatly tied up happy ending where all the complexities of life suddenly vanish. Remember this journey? It keeps on unfolding. There will still be shadows, still be moments where the path ahead isn't crystal clear. That's the damn reality of being human. But this new source of motivation, it carries a different weight. It's not fueled by anxiety, by the fear of missing out, or by the relentless comparison with others. It's more of a quiet, unwavering sense of alignment, a deep inner knowing that says, yeah, this feels like the way you might find yourself unexpectedly drawn to things that once seemed insignificant. A quiet act of kindness towards a stranger, immersing yourself in a creative outlet simply for the joy of it, a deeper, more mindful connection with the natural world. These aren't driven by the need for applause or external reward. They're fueled by an internal sense of rightness, of genuine resonance. It's like that seed that's been patiently growing beneath the surface, finally reaching for the sunlight. It's not a sudden, explosive burst. It's a gradual, persistent unfolding, a quiet strength emerging from the stillness. You might not suddenly possess all the answers. You might still navigate moments of uncertainty, but there's a deeper, more profound trust beginning to take root within you, a quiet confidence in that inner compass, that gentle whisper that's guiding you forward even when you can't see the entire path. This new motivation, it's sustainable. It doesn't drain you. It doesn't lead to burnout. It's more like a steady, enduring flame fueled by the authentic expression of your soul. So pay close attention to those subtle inclinations, those quiet urges that arise from within. That's the new engine starting to hum, not with a demanding roar, but with a gentle, persistent resonance. And trust that it will guide you to where you truly need to be. This isn't about striving, it's about allowing that deeper current to carry you forward.